supine resistance band face pull. So I have a longer loop resistance band here and I have it anchored at the top of a pull-up bar. For someone that has limited resources or equipment at home, a couple ways you can do this. You can take the band, tie a knot, and you can close it in the door. The other way you can go about it is on Amazon, they make these little like anchoring kits. They kind of look like a 4" by 4" plate that's a nylon strap with like an attachment or a carabiner on it, where you can close that little 4" by 4" pad on the backside of a door, and then you have an anchor that hangs over that you can hook the band to get you set up. But the reason we're doing this is we're going to use the floor to give us some feedback to make sure we're not compensating through our neck, our upper back, and cheating through any of those mentioned body parts, because we're trying to drive the motion into our upper back and not cheat through our lower back. Excuse me, I said that a little bit backwards a second ago. So not cheating through our lower back. So I'm gonna go to the ground here. When I grab the band, I wanna make sure that I get anchored, or I get set up out in front of my anchor point. So if I'm on my back and I'm looking straight up, the band is anchored back behind me or toward the wall. And I like to get set up to where my thumbs are kind of touching each other, so that way there's some resistance in the middle of this band. So when I pull down, I also have to pull the band apart to get back into that position. So on my back, knees bent, having a slight arch in my low back, so my low back is just barely off the ground. That's okay. And I'm gonna pull the band apart, and I'm coming down, and I'm trying to get my upper arms all the way to the ground. And then I'm pulling the band apart, and I like to kind of finish the band at my forehead or just slightly above my head. And the reason being is that adds a rotation component in the shoulder. So when you add that rotation component, it gets some of your rotator cuff muscles. So we're getting the muscles on the shoulder blade, the middle of the shoulder, the middle of the spine, and then those deep rotator cuff muscles all in one pulling motion. Now, if that's irritating or painful for you, kind of play with your shoulder positioning and your setup. Maybe you reduce some of the rotation first. So if I reduce the rotation, the band comes more toward my nose or my eye line. And if I have a lot of the shoulder rotation, the band kind of finishes at my forehead or above my head. It just all depends on your range of motion, your strength, and what you're rehabbing back from. So kind of play with those setups, find the one that's the most comfortable, but you can also feel the most muscle being recruited, and that's the one that we're gonna pursue.